So when you're neutral on this, a statement is true when it corresponds to reality. Generally speaking, the way we're talking about truth, I sense that you agree that a statement is true when it
I'm
corresponds to
probably a
reality.
bit leaning towards agreeing with that more than in the middle.
Right, so you
Now,
think you've shifted now
I've
to...
shifted. I think I've
Okay,
shifted a bit in
Okay.
just talking to you.
okay, fair enough. You want to talk through these things on the survey?
Yeah, the first three you said.
Yeah, statement is true when it corresponds to reality. So you're neutral on that. Are you still neutral on that? Because this was done a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you had some good reasons for being neutral when we spoke. I don't know if you can remember
What
them.
No, as you say, it was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So a statement is true when it corresponds to reality.
I suppose I lean more towards true now than neutral than I did before, but I don't think it's 100% true.
So what do you mean by when we have? What are you thinking the word true means in this? A statement is true when it corresponds to reality.
Well, it corresponds to the word truth.
Yeah. And what is truth?
Honesty. Like, truth is that tree's green.
Okay. And is that reality? That the tree's green?
Yes.
Okay.
In that case.
In that case, yes. So in that case, you're on board with that?
Yep.
A statement is true when it corresponds to reality. What's your best example of where a statement can be true but it's not reality?
Oh, I'm making me think now. Well, I suppose truth and reality have different spheres. Like, sometimes it's a contradiction in terms.
Okay.
I mean, he's a nice guy, but he's a pain in the ass. Now, the truth is, he's a nice guy,
Yeah.
and the reality is, he's a pain in the ass.
Can the
Yeah,
truth
for me.
can the truth be he's a pain in the ass and the reality is he's a nice guy?
Yeah, I suppose they're interchangeable in that respect.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
They can be, in fact, if you think about it, in most cases, they'll probably be interchangeable.
Yeah. What's our best example where it might not be interchangeable?
I don't know. May not be interchangeable. Well, I suppose if you call a spade, everything is interchangeable between truth and reality.
Yeah. I think I can remember when we first spoke about this, the reason why you weren't strongly agree with it, correct me if I'm remembering this wrong, was that can we ever really know what truth is and therefore you have some reservation. So you're not strongly agree.
Well, that's a point too.
Yeah.
You said what is truth, but
If we can't know what truth is, can we be
if
strongly
someone
agree?
tells you something and you believe it's the truth, is it the truth?
Yeah.
Have they been told a lie?
Beep. Gotta beep these names out. This is going to be a
The banned person. You know? I mean, he's been told a whole heap of rubbish,
Yeah.
which is not true.
Yeah. So is
And not reality either.
okay. So there's a difference between what we believe and then what's actually true. But in those cases, I'm sensing that truth is aligned with reality. Like if it's real, it's true.
Reality is reality.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You can't change reality. Reality is that that's a striped table.
Yeah.
That's a glass of water. That's reality.
Yeah.
Now, to say that's a glass of water, that's telling the truth.
Yeah.
To say it's a glass of gin is not true.
Yeah. Okay.
So reality, I don't think, is changeable.
Okay.
Where truth can be a little bit in between. You know what I'm trying to say?
So a perception of what's true can be in between. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
But the actual truth is what is real.
But reality is not a perception. It's,
No.
You look at it, it's reality. It's real. That camera's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right? But the truth is not always real.
Okay.
Because it depends a lot on who's telling you the facts.
Yeah.
I mean, I was listening to the radio this morning while I was getting ready to come here, and Dr. Carl was on. And they were asking all these weird questions about COVID. Now, we all sit back and listen to him and say, oh, he's telling us the truth. Is he? I mean, it seems that he is, because when he doesn't know, he says, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to research it.
Yeah.
But we believe a lot of things because we're told they're the truth, but aren't.
Yeah.
Scott Morrison stands up every day and says, I'm telling you the truth. Is he?
If we're unable to know the truth, is it the case that the truth is the same as reality? It's just that we might not be able to know what's true?
Okay. We're told this morning there was 120 new cases in Victoria. Now, we all sit back and believe that they're telling us the truth. Do we know it's the truth? Or are they just trying to scare people to stay in lockdown? Reality is what the actual number is. If it's 120, that's reality.
Okay. And can that be the truth?
It can be. I mean, 1,200 cases yesterday in New South Wales.
Yeah.
How do we know there's not 2,000 cases out there?
Can this be a problem if we're not using the word true to mean reality? We're not using the word truth as aligned with reality. How can this be a problem when people communicate if they have different understandings of the word truth?
It can be a big problem. I mean, I'm guilty of it, and I'm sure you are. A lot of people, in reality, the fact is this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you just blurt it out,
Yeah.
you assume they think you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
But when you say in reality, that puts a definition on it.
Yeah.
It's a defined argument.
Yeah.
It's a defined real thing in life.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So when you're neutral on this, the statement is true when it corresponds to reality. Generally speaking, the way we're talking about truth, I sense that you agree that a statement is true when it
I'm
corresponds to
probably a
reality.
bit leaning towards agreeing with that more than in the middle.
Right, so you think you've shifted now
I think I've shifted a bit in just talking to you.
Okay, fair enough.
I still don't think it's a statement you can make in reality.
Yeah.
It's a kind of word,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm closer to it than I was before we started this conversation.
Gotcha, yeah. And that's where I think you had a good point, is if we can't ever really know what's true, how can we make a statement and be so confident? Yeah.
True. Well, we don't. Most of the things we think is true is something we've been told.
Yeah.
We expect our politicians to tell us the truth. In reality, we know they bloody lie through their teeth, and then stand up and claim to be a bloody good Catholic. What a shit! Yeah.
I saw Pauline Hanson down at the.
Oh. You better cut that out.
Why? Yeah.
God, she's
How fast does she get down there? Okay, move on.
You know what? Just a quick thing on that. I was in hospital watching the news.
Am I going to have to beat that out?
No, what?
Pauline Hanson?
No, it's a public figure. I was in the hospital watching those news. Right? Up past 6 in the morning, those trucks stopped.
Yeah.
And Channel 7 had a news person there straight away. and it stated 2 trucks have stopped and blocked the motorway. By the time it got to the midday news, dozens of trucks have blocked the motorway on the Gold Coast. In 6 hours, it went from 2 to dozens.
Yeah.
Now, there's truth and reality.
Yeah.
The reality was there was only 2 trucks.
Yeah.
I knew that because I saw the first TV coverage of it.
I wanted to get down there to do an interview.
Oh,
But by the
you should have.
the time I saw it, the whole thing had cleared up. Oh, imagine if I had got an interview with Pauline. That would have been good.
Do you know why they moved? You didn't see that.
Well, the police were there and they're going to find them. They were
Doesn't
throwing them
matter.
away.
They didn't care.
So what was the reason?
There was animals in a float behind them.
Okay.
So they moved the trucks on so the animals would visit. Don't worry about the humans. Don't worry about the humans. It's just the animals we're going to think about.
Yeah. Well,
Now that's the reality.
yeah. Whatever makes sense to you.
Oh,
Alrighty. Well, that's a good segue into this question number 2. We all share the same reality and only interpret it differently. I think we
what
sort
did I
of
say on that? I believe in that.
you agree with that.
I agree
Not
with
strongly agree, but you agree.
I agree.
We all share the
I
same
think we
reality.
all. Well, that's the human mind.
Yeah. We're sort
The
of
human mind is a very, very finely tuned computer in my mind.
Yeah.
And what it does, it interprets facts according to your morals
Yeah.
and your values. Now, everyone of us in this room has a different level of morals and a different level of values. Right? All the nurses in the hospital I was just in had a very high set of values and a very high moral outlook, right?
Yeah.
That's why they're nurses. But they wouldn't have come into my room if they knew what my mind was interpreting about them.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
so we all interpret things differently.
Yeah. Most people, our default is to reason backwards. We start with our moral intuitions, which we get from our culture, our community, and then rationalise. And
But don't you believe that your morals and your values come from the way you were brought up?
yeah, from your culture, your community,
See,
your
I was
parenting.
brought up in a violent household. Now, my father had no values or morals. All he wanted to do was get pissed and bash that crap out of my mum. But at the end of the day, that I think has forced me to have a higher moral value and a higher value to the way I treat people and the way I treat life. You know, I mean, one of the nurses said to me yesterday, she said, you're probably the best patient we've ever had. And one doctor said, oh, you're a good patient, you do what you're told. I said, well, what's the use of being in here? I'm not going to do what I'm told. You're the expert, I'm not. But I will always question. One thing I always do in hospital, I ask questions. And I say to them, look, you're going to wish I wasn't here because I'm going to ask every question in the book. But most of the good ones, they answer. And that, once again, they answer you honestly. So you assume in here that they're telling you the truth. Now, is that truth reality?
Yeah.
Or are they telling you something to make you feel better?
So,
Bedside manner, it's called.
so that to me, correct me if I'm wrong, is an example that we do all share the same reality but only interpret it differently. People can be honestly telling you what they think is true and it may
Because
be wrong.
everyone's different, everyone's mind's different.
Yeah.
They interpret things differently.
Yeah. So what would be an example, because you're not strongly agree on that, what would be an example where your reality is different to mine?
My reality is different to yours. I don't think, I mean, I haven't known you for a long time, but as much as I've got to know you quickly, I think we share the same type of values and the same type of morals. That's my opinion. I believe you've got high values, and I believe you've got high morals. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Do the morals and values impact the interpretation, or do they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most certainly.
And
Most
so,
certainly.
is there any room for them to impact the reality?
In the mind, that is.
Okay, so the
But the
perception.
actual reality.
The actual reality.
The actual real fact.
Yeah. No. Okay.
But
So-
in the mind, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're talking about reality as the actual real fact, as you put it, would you then be strongly agree that we all share the same reality in that sense? And
Yeah,
only
I
interpret
strongly
it?
agree with that one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So number 3, truth depends on the opinions and beliefs of people.
Truth depends on the honesty and beliefs of people. Yeah, I'm not so
Opinions and beliefs.
Opinions.
Yeah.
sure. See, I don't. Yeah, people can have their opinions. Like, you and I both share the same type of morals and values,
Yeah.
but we can have different opinions about things.
Yeah.
Once again, that gets back to your mind.
And I think it goes back to question number 1, what we mean by truth. Are we
Like-
defining truth as reality?
Yeah.
Or
I know all the
something
girls
else.
here, right?
Yeah.
And I walk in and Sarah, who makes the coffee, always say, hello, beautiful, you know. And she has a giggle and thinks, oh, that's marvellous, you know. He talks to her and makes some smart remark about why she didn't do this and why she didn't do that. And to me, I mean, the reality is he said it, but I don't believe he's got the value right to say it. You know? And that's why he gets a lot of people offside.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not a communicator.
Yeah. I can think of some examples where truth might depend on the opinions and beliefs of people.
Such as?
When we start naming places, so if we name a place, so let's agree to call Australia Australia. Well, that truth of what the name is for Australia depends on our opinion of what we're going to call it. So I can see some exceptions there.
Wasn't it called something else originally before it got the name of Australia?
Was. Yeah,
I
I
know
can remember
too.
that. Oh, we should remember that, shouldn't we?
I think Tasmania was Van Diemen's land.
Yeah, wasn't it empty land?
It was some weird name before they named it Australia.
That's embarrassing. I'm going to have to look that up. It's one of those things you get taught in primary school and you forget it by the time you get to high
Do
school.
you remember a place north of Newcastle where those two brothers that used to do the travel show built
Leyland
Ayers
Brothers?
Rock? Yeah,
Leyland Brothers,
they built
yeah.
the Ayers Rock thing.
Yeah.
Opposite where they built that, there was a huge forest. That was the original plan for Canberra.
For who?
For Canberra,
Oh, was it?
Australian capital.
Okay. Yeah.
And that someone decided, no, we'll do it down because they could build a lake.
Yeah,
They
okay.
couldn't build a lake where
Yeah.
but that was going to be Canberra.
Yeah.
And if you look at the old maps, you'll see the outline, proposed Australian Capital Territory.
Wow, okay. So that might be an example. You've got agree with this. Truth depends on the opinions and beliefs of people.
Well, I
Give-
suppose it does.
Given the way we were speaking about truth just now, if you're now sort of agree that a statement is true when it corresponds to reality, can the opinions and beliefs of people change reality?
Reality is reality.
Yeah.
I walked out onto that road and got hit by a bus. That's reality. Can't
Yeah.
change that.
Okay.
No matter what, someone
Yeah.
else could say, oh, the bus headed for him.
Yeah.
Right? The fact is, I was hit by a bus. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. So in that sense, if we're talking about truth in that sense, you would disagree with this statement then, is what I'm hearing.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Not totally, but
Yeah.
mostly.
Mostly, yeah. Yeah. Okay.